Volusia Flagler Fantasy Football League. It is me, your boy, Giselle's prenup, live about 5 miles south of Bali on my own private island because we're on vacation over here in GP Clubhouse. As always, our commish, Mr. Mud Dogs, how we doing?
Doing fantastic, sir. I don't appear to be having as much fun as you are out there on your own private remote island.
That's right.
Is that because it's off season time, man? Are you just
It's off season, man, and I'm gonna enjoy it, but I'm still here to work for the people. I'm here for the people. Wait 1 second. Make it a double Moscow Mule, please. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
priorities, man? Priorities.
That's right.
Well, in a blink of an eye, man, we're here. Week 14 recap. And it feels just like the other day that we started this journey down the 2022 season. But time has flown. Well, I tell you what, man.
It has.
Let's go ahead and let's just jump right into the recap. We'll go ahead and fire it up this week. We had Iron Smoke improving to 6-8 on the year with a 75-64 victory over the Bills Mafia president Aston TDs. On the Smoke side, I'm gonna give the attaboy this week to Mr. Adam Thielen. Blast from the past. The ghost of Adam Thielen makes it to the end zone this week and is able to produce about 12.5 for Iron Smoke. And on the flip side, for Miss Anna, what has turned into a very disappointing campaign with the star power of Stephon Diggs and Travis Kelce. She comes up a little bit short this year on the playoff campaign. Justin Herbert finally decided to quarterback this week.
He did.
And that's about all I got on this one, man.
While Miss Anna's team is in disarray and she misses the playoffs this year, it had to be good to see her go out the way she did with Justin Herbert showing up against the Dolphins. We can both agree on that. This is a tale of two teams this year, man. A little bit of star power on each side, but underperformed. I'm sure Iron Smoke will be back at it next season, as well as Ass and TDs. I'm sure she's already on the phones looking for running backs for next season.
I'm actually trying to see if Anna will just wire me the rest of her fab money because I got a feeling I'm going to need it, if not this week, definitely in the upcoming weeks.
Fair.
Anywho, moving right along, we had the AT Aliens with a massive 79-62 victory over Tua Legit. Tua quit. Doug moves to 9-5 on the season and is able to clinch the bye in the Shiva division. Now, I don't know about you, man, but you want to talk about a team that's limping into the playoffs? I mean, and I know I don't have any room to talk, but
no,
I'm gonna start with Doug though because we'll get to my roster later. But as you've alluded to, man, his QB situation, he's gonna be having nightmares about that shit. And to be honest with you, the QB is one thing, but I feel like when Cooper Kupp went down, I mean that started the slide for the AT Aliens, man. Like I said, he's able to hang on 9-5, get the bye. And on the flip side, for Mrs. Commish, 2022 has got to be a very disappointing campaign. Star power across the board. I mean, you got your pick. Alvin Kamara, bad year. Najee Harris, down year. Her quarterback situation, I mean, hell, shout out to Kyler Murray, man. Speedy recovery. I mean, he just blew his ACL out. Mrs. Gailey's team did not show up this week. And, -6 from the Titans defense. I mean, unless you're Iron Smoke, you ain't gonna win with a -6 spot.
Yeah. A month and a half ago, we were on here, man, and Doug was a special guest, and I talked about how terrifying his team was. And you look at it now, You take Latavius Murray and Deshaun Watson out of that lineup, and you plug Justin Fields and a healthy Cooper Kupp back into it, and that team was championship bound. No question. Cooper Kupp going down, like you said, is terrible. That was bad for him. But getting rid of Justin Fields and holding on to Deshaun Watson might have been arguably, and I say this with love, but I've had a few Moscow mules, so I'm going to let you know right now that might have been the dumbest thing I've ever seen in fantasy football. I love you, Doug. Yeah, Mrs. Gailey, tough year. Another team with a lot of star power and it just didn't show up. Tough. I know how that feels.
Right on. Next up, we've got Boot and Rally improving to 3-11 on the year with a 109-49 victory over Giselle's prenup. Is it fair to say that you were halfway to Bali before this one ended?
I was already there, dude. Actually, I landed 10 minutes before the 1 o'clocks. And as always, when I visit here in the off season, they grace me with lavish gifts and full bottles of alcohol and a remote to the Red Zone channel because I always show up on Sundays. I told them to take that remote and shove it right up their ass, and I didn't really care and just give me the handle bottles and show me where the women are. Yeah.
Fair.
I mean, Eric's had my number since the conception of time. We already knew what was going to happen here. There's not really a whole lot to talk about.
I got you.
GG's.
Well, I tell you what. I tell you what, man. This is what I want to ask you about this matchup.
Sure.
Is this it for Tom Brady this year?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. Listen, I put him on my roster because, as we all know, I'm his biggest fangirl. But he's upset me a lot this season, man, and it's tough to watch somebody like that have it all and kind of lose it, especially somebody that you admire, right?
I got.
But to pick football over, some things, and I don't want to talk bad about him, dude. I know he watches it. I know he watches this podcast. I don't want to say anything bad about him. It's my dog, but it's time for him to hang it up.
I got you.
Give somebody a reason to watch Fox football's, show.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we can save Jonathan Taylor discussion for another time. But
he doesn't exist. He doesn't exist. I deleted his number out of my phone, dude.
I got you.
It's all good.
Well, as far as Boot and Rally goes, man, I think you and I can both agree Eric could have had a complete Pro Bowl roster this year, and him going 3-11 didn't hurt anybody's feelings. He's it's his time was coming. He knew his time was coming, and I mean it was a hell of a ride the last 3 years. But
listen, dude, the crazy part is his team's good.
Yeah,
he scored points.
Mm-hmm.
He had one of those years where every week somebody had a career week. Except for me. But
I'm gonna take a look at this real quick, man, and I'm looking at the points against number for Eric, and it's over 1,400.
Yeah.
So when you're giving up an average of 100 plus and change every week, good luck, man.
Yeah, you're not catching a lot of W's, especially in a standard format league like we have. It's that's bad, dude. But deals with the devil were made. Now he has to repent.
Yep. All right.
He wanted to come. He wanted to come, and I was like, "Listen, man. Right now's not a good time."
We haven't fully made it through the mourning period yet, right?
No.
All right. Next up on the docket, man, we saw Master Bader improve to 9-5 on the year with a 98-70 victory over Smoking Joe Burrow. Did Lee really win this week? I mean, I know the scoreboard says that, but I mean, it looks like he's going to be down Deebo Samuel for a couple weeks. RB2 Ramondre I mean, he got rolled up on Monday night. He tried to come back in, man, and then he got shut down by his defensive coordinator, pretty quick. Um, I mean that sucks, man. And we've been I know Lee probably disagrees, but I feel like we've been singing his praises more often than not this year. Um, right before the playoffs, man, and he's getting hit with these two big injuries, man. Right before we get this dance going. Um, but Jalen Hurts is still healthy and still turning out points like at an absurd rate. I mean, he went for 32 this past week against the Giants. And then on the flip side, for Mr. Smoking Joe Burrow, shoulda, coulda, woulda, man. But God, man, he had two guys go this week that went goose egg. I don't even think they played. I mean, I know Damian Harris was out, but I'm pretty sure if Boyd did play, I believe he may have gotten injured early. But I mean, hell, he may be on his way out to the island as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Clark's invited. Clark's invited. He's invited to the island, but not the barbecue, dude. We don't put Dolphins fans at the barbecue. It just doesn't work, you know? Lee is screaming danger Will Robinson right now, dude. Great season, good team. But man, Debo's down. Ramondre's not looking good. He needs that Cowboys defense to score 25 points this weekend. We'll talk more about that in the picks, but I mean, I haven't even really looked and seen who the Eagles play this week, but he's got himself a little bit of trouble. So, but hey, I've been his biggest fan all season. Said he was going undefeated after the name change. He slid in the playoffs and almost took top spot. But he's got himself an uphill climb. We'll talk more about that though. Smoking
Right
Joe,
on.
hey man, welcome to the island, dude.
Next up, we saw Stitches get stitches, improve to 9-5 on the season, and remain the hottest team in the Volusia Flagler Fantasy Football League. He took down yours truly, the Mud Dogs, 97-78. I'll go ahead and start with Clayton, man. It's like I said in the picks last week, J&J and J&J. Josh Jacobs, 17.4, and Justin Jefferson, 22.3 points, and the dude didn't even find the end zone.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. And Clayton didn't even play defense this week.
The disrespect.
That's even more terrifying.
The absolute disrespect.
Hey, I mean, now's the time of year where you got to have that star power at running back and wide receiver. And right now, he's got the number one scoring RB and WR, man. So, I mean, John Clayton's got to be on that short list. On the flip side, put me in the same category in the danger Will Robinson, man, because, I mean, my meat and potatoes are RB and wide receiver. It's non-existent right now. It is absolutely non-existent. I mean, I got 5.5 points out of my two starting wide receivers. I don't care what you got at QB and what you got on the back end at defense and kicker. You ain't winning many ball games if you can get that out of your starting wideouts.
No.
And I gotta figure. I mean, yeah, I had a couple guys on bye this week, but they're just as big as roller coasters as everybody else I got. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, I may have clinched the bye and got the number one seed, man, but it ain't been looking pretty coming down the stretch.
No. Is that a 4-game skid for you?
I think it's 3. Let me check. Give me 2 seconds and I will tell you. Yeah, 3 in a row. I've lost 3 straight.
3 straight?
Yep.
You need Josh Allen and Gabe Davis to come alive, my friend, and Chris Olave needs to catch some balls. You're another one that's like you said. I mean, your running back star power is there. You just they got to do something. Snitches is scary, right? He's the hottest team in this league right now. He's got the double-headed monster of JJ and JJ, like you said. Dak Prescott only scored 13 points, and he still put up almost a hundo without a defense. Hottest team in the league right now, dude. It's gonna be tough to beat him.
Yep.
Couldn't
Absolutely.
happen to a better guy either. You know, it's one of those guys that's we really don't see him around much in the playoffs, and he's got a good run going. So
Oh, yeah, you just wait. I got some tidbits for you that got written down, and we'll address those in the picks. I bet you'll be pleasantly surprised at some of this information I'm about to hit you with. But
I feel like
before
you're being. I feel like you're lying. Yeah.
Okay. All
I feel
right.
like I'm not going to like some of the information. I can tell I've known you for a long time, and that face tells me that you're about to say something that's going to piss me off. I'm on vacation in Bali. I was going to invite you. Be careful what you say.
Well, hey, I've come to copes that I'll be on that island before this season's over with. So,
You probably will.
anywho,
You can share a bed with
um,
Clark
yeah, right.
over in
Um,
Dolphinsville.
5-star matchup this week. We saw sponsors by Blanton's improve to 9-5 on the year with a 109-104 victory over Shane Falco and company. This one lives up to the billing, and the 5-star absolutely came down to the wire in this one. I'm going to start on the sponsored by Blanton side of things here. Did you see the Chargers Dolphins game on Sunday night?
No.
Okay. Well, did you see the Tyreek Hill touchdown then on the highlights?
No.
No. Okay. Well, anywho, sponsored by Blanton's wins by 5 points. Okay. And on a play that happened around the 50, there was a fumble that in tune
Oh, yeah. So I did
sparked
see
off
that.
a scrum that Tyreek Hill proceeded to pick up, get the fumble recovery, and then scoot almost 60 yards for a touchdown. So, if you want to hang a single play that may have swung that contest, we can look at that.
So how did that score? Did that score with a fumble recovery, defensive touchdown, or fumble recovery, offensive touchdown plus 2 points for the yardage plus the yards?
So no, he got 6 points total for a fumble recovery for a touchdown. That's it. Because as a I don't know if it was a podcast or I was listening to some news clip and they were talking about scoring this. It may have been something directly correlated with fantasy football that I was listening to. But they were talking about that in the event of an offensive player recovering a fumble and advancing the ball, they don't get credited with those yards. But in the event the old hook and ladder play at the end of the game with like the 35 backward passes comes into effect, a player that is involved in that play, I believe it's the last person technically gets credited with the loss of yardage on that play. So if
Gotcha.
this thing would have went, I mean, like again, you know, on a fumble recovery, you can't get the yards for advancing it, but they'll be sure as hell dock you for it if you're involved on the loss. So
arguably that could have been a 15-point play, but it was only a 6-point play. Almost. Wow. I never really thought about that until now. You know, again, I've been partying, dude.
yeah, I got you. Well, sponsored by Blanton's, makes the playoffs, misses out on the bye. Shane Falco and company unfortunately goes from the penthouse in the Shiva division all the way down to I believe he is the 6th seed going into the playoffs. But I mean, sponsored by Blanton's, man. He's been patching it together all season, dude. I mean, he's got a New York Jet running back that I had to Google before this thing even started, who he rolled out there to the tune of 13.7, and Chuba Hubbard, man, like 15.9 for the Carolina Panthers. He yeah, he's digging deep to find points. But I mean, kudos to my brother-in-law.
Yep.
And then on the flip side for Shane Falco, man, like his RBs, man, Foreman and Fournette, not much going on there, but he's getting Jamar Chase back. Tyler Lockett's been NBA Jams rule. I think this is like maybe his sixth game in a row. He scored a touchdown. And he gets Mike Williams back. Mike Williams had a big game against the Dolphins. So Shane Falco's getting into the WR spot, man, but he needs a little bit of help somewhere else.
Yeah. Even with that Tyreek Hill play, I mean, we're not talking about Trevor Lawrence at all. 33 points out of the guy? Sunshine came to play, dude.
Oh yeah, my brother-in-law was giving me the business about putting respect on Trevor Lawrence's name and all this other garb earlier in the week, and then I pull his game log, right, and 33 is leaps and bounds, by far the best game he's had all season. So like, let's not act like this guy's been turning this shit out week in and week out.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think he had like probably a couple 20-plus point games, but the rest of the time he's kind of just been, probably better than Tom Brady though in fantasy. So there's that.
After this weekend, they've got Trevor Lawrence ranked 8th overall at 18.1 per. But that's including this past weekend's matchup. So
Gotcha.
Anywho, do I need to let you get back to happy hour? You want to put a bow on this week 14 recap?
I think we'll put a bow on this one. We're gonna come back and we're gonna make some playoff picks. Yeah,
Let's do it.
we're gonna make some playoff picks. Hey, to everybody else in the bracket, the island's open. Holler at your boy. Other than that, I'm out.